So, Inktober. For some artists, it is a tradition. They do all 31 days every year. I did it this year, not quite the same as last year. Last year, I did all 31 days. I did them traditionally. I did them in an inking style. In fact, you can see those on my archive account at yukiko.archive. But yeah, I did it again this year, but it's not quite the same. I did only a week because October this year was just a crazy month. Since I did it digitally this year, most of the drawings that I did, it took me longer since I haven't quite adjusted to digital, and also I wasn't feeling good for a period of time. I am okay now, but I wasn't feeling very good, so I didn't do any drawing then. And also during October we had a couple dental appointments and stuff, so it was just really busy. Before I started anything, I created a color palette, which I more or less stuck to, kind of ish, throughout Inktober. So day one, I had this drawing all the way from May that I did. I was on Instagram and I kept seeing all these posts from people doing mermaid, and I wanted to join, so I did this, but it was only liner because it was so big and I normally do colored pencils. So I was just like, there's no way I'm doing this in colored pencils. I'll do this if I ever do digital. The prompt for day one of Inktober was fish. So merman, fish, perfect. It was perfect. So I just scanned it, did the liner over top, and I did it in black. Colored some of it in. It's pretty basic. I did add some of the inking style, of course, to shade it. I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty basic, but I also had to complete it in one day, which I did manage to do because I didn't try to expect too much of myself with this one. Day two. This one's interesting. It took me almost all day. I started in the morning and I spent so much time doing this drawing. I'm guessing at least 5 hours a day on this drawing. So it was a lot, but I also had school that day, so it was me trying to balance this almost impossible thing. But it was really fun. The theme was wisp, and I don't know about you, but the first thing I think of when I think of wisp is Brave, like the will o' the wisps from Disney's Brave. And I would just remember Merida following them to the witch's house, and I thought the will o' the wisps were so interesting. They did not talk, but they looked like little blue fairies with blue fiery heads, and as soon as Merida walked near them, they disappeared. Will-o'-the-wisps are actually a very real phenomenon that happens. It's rare, but it happens. It looks like a bluish fire. I don't remember the exact scientific explanation behind it, nor did I fully understand it, but this is a very interesting phenomenon because as soon as you walk near it, it disappears. And actually in Latin, these are called foolish fires. Clearly, it would be not the greatest idea to follow them. So that's why they're called foolish fires. But yeah, I did this drawing and I did like this little mushroom forest. I did the little will-o'-the-wisps. I drew them kind of like blue ghosts. That's just what I imagined of a will-o'-the-wisps, and I just went with it. So yeah, this one was fun to do. It was a lot of work because there were more pieces to this drawing, almost like separate pieces. There was a lot of inking. So it took me a long time, but this one was fun. Day 3. This is probably one of my favorites. Just the outcome of this drawing was probably one of my favorites of all of Inktober. The theme was, it was bulky. So I decided to draw a girl, a little girl, with her bucket full of candy and it's kind of overflowing. This one was fun. I really just liked, drawing her hair and her dress. I did a lot of inking with this one, like many layers to make it darker. But I think the outcome is really good. Actually, while I was doing this drawing, I was like thinking of all things fall and like trick-or-treaters and stuff. And then like somewhere around the middle of the drawing, I started playing Christmas music and then I got in the Christmas spirit and I was like, whatever. You guys are gonna have to let me know. Do you bust out the Christmas music before Thanksgiving or only after Thanksgiving? Because I definitely do it before Thanksgiving. This was 3 months early, but I don't care because I like Christmas music. Day 4. So day 4, it took me quite a while to come up with an idea that I actually liked. I was out and about that day that I was also trying to come up with ideas, so I wasn't in my ideal space as it already was. The theme was radio, so I drew this guy drawing and listening to music. You know, kind of a familiar scene. I spent a lot of time drawing. And I often listen to music or audiobooks or podcasts depending on what I'm feeling like listening to that day. I drew him drawing this little like teddy bear. He has this flannel button-up shirt with a white T underneath. The station he's listening to is R&B 101. So I'm guessing he's a fan of calm music. Yeah, this one, throughout the process, I felt like I couldn't get the inking quite right, but I eventually got it to where I was like, this is okay. And I was just like, yeah, I guess we're done with it now. Kind of gotta let go of it because I gotta move on. Day 5. So day five was a lot of work. As you're watching currently, I put in a bunch of books. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In this picture, there are 7 shelves full of books. But it was fun. It was a lot of work, but I think it also turned out pretty well. The next bit was the girl herself. She was kind of fun to draw. I don't think I got the anatomy quite right, but I did enjoy drawing this pose. I did try to put into practice what I've learned from my anatomy class, the one I've been watching on YouTube, Stan Prokopinka's series. I am not done with it, so, you know, it might show, but I do like that series. I, again, did that inking style on her, and I added that pop of color, which was the pink dress and the pink book. In the finished picture, the book says "The Secret," because behind the book was this dagger that fell out, which, of course, I forgot to mention, but the theme to day 5 was blade. So I did a dagger that fell out of this spot where the book was. Because I love shows like that, because you know when that happens, some sort of crazy journey is going to happen when you find a dagger behind a book that you pull out, or a secret passage because you pulled out that book, you know. There's gonna be some sort of journey. Day 6. Day 6 was the only day that I did traditionally. This one was kind of hard because I added these houses in the drawing, and that was something that I imagined in my head, you know. I was like, I've imagined it now, it's too late, can't turn back. I'm not good with buildings. I challenged myself with this one, and this one was fun. I drew these 3 little kids dressed up as mice because the theme was rodent. As always with inking, the best part is coloring the completely black bits with the inking brush, and that is just so fun. The inking itself definitely requires the most patience, and I don't think I had enough patience with it in this drawing because it was unusually large for an inking drawing for me. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. This is one of the ones I am more happy with because it is traditional. That is, you know, my forte. Day 7. This one is probably my favorite. Day 7 has a story. So the theme was fancy. Around that time, and you know, all of October, there, you know, other than school and normal things of life, there were a lot of things going on besides that. And there was some craziness. While I was trying to keep up with Inktober, I was drinking a cup of coffee every day, and I've never really handled coffee super well. So I used to get really shaky, but because I was drinking it every day, I wasn't getting shaky anymore. What did happen though was around that time I got breakouts. My skin's been in the healing process, and one of the things that made me feel fancy at night was putting on my Curology. My sisters will tease me for that. But it made me feel like kind of fancy for putting on skincare. I don't know why. It makes your face feel so clean. So, as you can see in the mirror, there's like this little piece of paper that says the skincare routine, you know, cleanser, serum, moisturizer, SPF of 30 plus. Then there's some little post-it notes, like one that has a party that she was gonna go to and the date, and then one that says trust the process. And then some little like fairy lights around your mirror. I did not actually do the inking style in this one, and I don't regret it, because I think by that time I was getting tired of doing that inking style. I just switched to doing typical what I'm used to with shading, and I loved it. It taught me so much about doing art digitally. This drawing I think is by far my favorite of the 7 that I did for Inktober. Yeah, for me this one is my favorite, but you guys will have to tell me what your favorites are. Be sure to put in the comments if you did Inktober, and if not, are you gonna do Huevember or Mermaid? So yeah, that's all for today's video. Be sure to go follow me on my Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and check out my Etsy shop. I do commissions, so if you're interested in a custom art piece with your OC or even a picture of yourself or a family member, go be sure to check out my Etsy. I also do custom orders. If you have something that doesn't really fit within the listings that I've created, you can contact me, and I might be able to do that for you. So be sure to go check that out. The link will be in the description. Bye.